want to say hi, everybody, with Dr. Wendi Seger, who has joined me today. And I want to get to know you. Before we do, I just want to show the shoes because we're talking about shoes. We're talking about fashion. And we might not keep talking about this. So I'll show. These are one of my favorite shoes from Betsy Johnson. They're old school, like they're old, but aren't they cute?
They are so
Do you
cute.
even know they're like from 10 years ago or 8 years ago?
No, you can't tell. And what's great about a good shoe is that they last forever when you get a good shoe.
You should think of them as an investment. I do think that. I really do. I mean, a good shoe, and this is another one. I'm just going to do a quick, I
love the color.
She's actually, Farrell Robin is on Instagram. It's been probably 20 years since I've met the woman, but aren't the shoes the cutest thing?
They really are. I love the bright colors. I mean, you can be wearing black or white or whatever and then have a shoe like that. And it's like, bam, there you are.
I know. So this all started because I was reading Instagram, I love the scroll, and you were posting about shoes. You had you had high heels, and then I was like, oh, Soul Sister. I'm scrolling more, and you actually had another post with these cute little flats.
Yes.
So before we go into details here, I want you to introduce yourself to everybody because I think you found it through Instagram, but let everybody know.
My name is Dr. Wendi, or you can just call me Wendi, either one. And I was sharing with Jennie before that my history and past is different and sorted. I have a master's in counseling, and my doctorate is actually in business. So I always like to clarify that because people assume it's like psychiatric in some nature, but it's actually business. So I've had always a fascination and an interest in wellness and people, being their best selves, living a on purpose life, healthy. At the same time, I love business. And so as I've gotten older, I'm like, oh, I should be in the business of well things that help people. And so that's sort of where I've transitioned to. I currently, so my background really is, I have been a therapist at one time. I transitioned more into the business world and did a lot of marketing and branding and strategic planning for it, like in fiber optic. I mean, it's crazy the work that I've done. It's weird. And so I had a lot of experience sort of branding and marketing other companies. And then I always really had this dream to create my own thing. And so I designed, created operationally and brand-wise a farm-to-table fast casual restaurant in my community. And it has been hugely successful, which has been super fun. In the past year, as that business it's just been thriving. I don't have to watch it all the time. It is running. What is my next chapter? And I realized that I would get a lot from women, especially, I could never do what you do. I could never, wow, how did you decide to do this? And my entire life, I've done kind of crazy things. I've decided out of the blue to start training for, a half marathon. And then I did that. And so I think the girlfriends around me always kind of saw me as just a fearless person who did things. But they didn't see the behind the scenes of the tears, the fear, the utter, the true story, and I think we do that. We have this mask of I'm a capable woman and I'm out doing these things. And I wanted to sort of pull off the veil of no, let me show you what this is really like. Let me show you the difficulty and the fear and and how I personally am navigating through that. And in that way, my hope is to encourage other women. I'm not like some big celebrity doing crazy things. I'm just an average woman doing.
You're doing exciting things. Yeah,
I'm living my big life, right?
Right.
So I started doing that last year. I started building an online community and just really challenging myself to today when I get up, how can I show the authentic me in a way that encourages other women who also have these fears. They can see mine, but like, I'm going to work through it, and together maybe we can do something amazing with our lives.
That's what I love about your feet, because you really share that story. So it's like you're taking people on a journey, and you were like out in the farm with the hoe. Like she's in the farm. She's really with the hoe. So how do you do a business that you said you weren't really like hands-on with anymore? Is that what you're saying with the farm to table?
Yeah, so my goal has always been to grow a business that can have growth. And when you, so the restaurant industry has a really bad rap, and people think that you're always tied to it and you can never get away. And so I went into it knowing that I was not going to run my business this way. But just like anything, the first year and a half, I lived and breathed there until, I became obsessive about perfecting processes, and always with the intention that this could run very well and at the same quality without me here every day. So every decision I made was in that vein of how can I ensure quality? Because our one of our things is quality. If you pay a little bit more because it's we try to source as much locally as we can, so it's fresher and all that. And so our prices are a little bit higher, and so we have to deliver on quality like every single day. And how do I ensure that when I'm not here? And how do I build the culture of quality?
The word you just said, though, is what I actually posted today. Process.
Oh, yeah.
Process.
Yes.
But how did you figure that out? Because you come from a world there was counseling, and there's a process in that.
Yeah.
But when you're in business, process is so vital. People are trying to run a business, and they're coming at it from all different, they're a little scattered.
Right. So I would say, first thing I want to say is that if you are committed, any woman can learn anything she chooses to learn, period. So just because you're not my personality. So when I get ready to tell you, I'm getting ready to tell you a little bit about my personality, which helps you understand how I can do those things. I want to say that, but I also want to say it with a caveat that you may be more right brains or left brained or whatever. How do you get to the other side? I firmly believe that anybody with a committed spirit can learn anything they want. That being said, I do, like on the Myers-Briggs, on the thinking feeling, I am like right in the middle there. And so I can kind of leap here and leap there. It's a one thing that I can kind of do. I can go down that road of really the intuition and understanding feelings, or I can sort of turn that off and say, okay, how does this affect the bottom line? How are people experiencing this? And I cannot let feelings get involved with that decision. And so that's a benefit, but that's also been a learned skill to know how to navigate between the two of those.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it is being able to know when to turn on one and when to turn that down and allow logic to just prevail and that kind of thing.
Well, I like the fact that with process like that, you're saying that you're doing some automation, or like you could be pulled out, and someone else could be inserted in, and things.
Yes.
You're not literally doing it all day long.
No. Yes. So that's exactly what I've done. Like I said, every decision from how we, I want to say, like, this is a unique concept. So I would say it's a cross between maybe a Chipotle and it's very different. So everything's out for you to see.
I'm so intrigued. I wish I lived in Colorado.
Well, on occasion, I've done some video streaming of being in there. I'll have to do some more through my Instagram stories of like showing people how it works, because it's fascinating to me, and I like seeing other people's processes and what they do. So I'll do another behind the scenes and take you in there. But it's a unique concept, and so we had a complete customer base that over time has had to evolve with us as we've learned better ways to do things. And that's not always, customers don't always like to change, but we've been blessed that they're like, okay, most of them, 98%, there's 2% that are never coming back because you changed what you did, but they have been skeptical at times, but they are, I think over time they've appreciated how we have worked really hard to get better and better and better. And they have kind of been on that journey with us.
Well, this is kind of, getting to be the sustainable life and the,
Yeah.
farm to table. Do you see it being a franchise, like growth, like franchise, or like how does a business like that grow? I'm just curious what we're looking at in the future here. 10 years.
Yeah. I mean, I have a very successful concept. I mean, so I've proven my concept here locally, but we're a smaller community. But so I'm in Colorado, and we're in southern Colorado in Alamosa, if anybody wants to look at a map. But so we're about 4 hours from Denver. And so through our summer months, we have a huge influx of tourists, from the Denver area. So we're becoming quite well known in our area. I don't foresee right at the moment a franchise, just because the quality piece is so big that I don't think I could give that up. It would ruin the brand if people didn't do it right. So I would want to grow with it. That being said, to open another location is $400,000, to do it right. And so we've had a few investors, but they're very on the small end. So it just depends on whether or not I want to put every penny I make into yet another location, or whether I want to hold on to the money, or what I end up wanting to do. And so right now, I'm sort of being a planner personality and normally have the next thing all figured out. But I have just kind of said, I'm going to continue to perfect this. Even yesterday I learned there's a customer experience on the online ordering that we got set up that's not perfect. It's confusing. So I actually have to recreate all kinds of stuff on the back end to
order
fix
online
that
and go
little,
pick it up.
yes. So I have to fix something that's going to take me like 3 days to fix this one little thing. But I mean, I think that at this point, what can I do to perfect what I'm doing so that when the opportunity comes to expand, I'll just be like ready.
But this isn't all you're doing. So that's
No,
that.
that's one thing. That's one thing. I have a lot of energy.
And then what else are you doing? You have groups that you're meeting with. What are you doing?
So my online business, or sort of that I've created, I'm writing a book that I'm super passionate about, and I'm hoping to get that done. Right at this moment, I'm just working to kind of build a community. I do some business consulting with some small companies. I'm getting ready to work with they're a craft brewery. They have an amazing product, and they're wanting some support in branding, and I'm doing some operational support for a sporting goods company where I'm at. So I have a few things like that, but mainly, I'm just sort of interested in building a community right now online. I do very limited, if I can fit it in, some coaching, but I try to keep that super limited because I don't have much time. But right now, my goal is to just share and put things out and build people up and build a community of people that are excited about, I guess living their purpose, living a bold, bright life. And if I can, model doing that as another woman, then that's what I want to do.
Right. So how do people find you? Because I mean, not that I'm trying to do the big promo here, but like I would love if
Sure.
I was watching right now, I'd be like, so where do I find you? Dr.
Yeah.
Wendi?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram, and it's Wendi Seger, WendiSeger. Facebook is Seger Co, @Seger Co, SEGERCO. And then my website is wendiseger.com, WendiSeger.
Right.
But I use my doctor thing because, it's just this diploma I have, and
I think it's great. I was like, oh, I wish I could say I'm a doctor. I mean, I went back to school at such a late age because I just kind of did a whole bunch of other crazy stuff when I was younger. So my schooling to get a master's was like later in life, and I'm like a PhD. No, I don't even want to be a school.
Oh, it's just an obsession with learning, and if my husband's like, no more degrees, you can't have any more, and I would probably get another one if I could. I love learning. I love stretching my mind. And so,
Well, so
yeah.
tell me about like the favorite thing that you do when you are working with people. I understand you don't take on tons of clients, but like what is it that you, when it's right and working and you feel really fulfilled? Because I know a lot of people watching are in that coaching space, right?
Yeah.
And they want to be coaches. They want to, or be consultants with other people and helping, like kind of the same mission, right? Helping people.
Yes. Yes.
So when it's working, what's it like? Like, do you have a story to share?
Let's see, when it's working, I come from the therapy background, which is very different than coaching. Coaching is, future oriented and what you can be. When it's working is, I think, probably the best therapists, the best coaches have done their own personal work and know the difference between someone else's story and their own story. And that's one thing that I think is so important, that you're able to differentiate and know that when someone is talking about something that you've gone through, you don't get to be like, and me too, I had that happen and this is what I did, because this story is not about you. So
Right.
when it's working, you're able to put that aside and be wholly and completely present for that person. And your experience just allows you to have empathy and have instincts on how they might feel, but not be about you and your trauma and your life and your hurts. And I think that that's when it works, is when you're able to have those instincts with someone else.
That is leveling it up for sure, because if you don't, like I went through coach training where, specifically you learn things like that, right? But like if you're someone who's the kind of the guru, come on my journey person, not saying you, I'm just saying, whoever,
Right.
To know that is absolutely huge, because in conversation we do that all the time, right? We talk to people, oh, me too, oh, and then this me, I've already done it today, like in this conversation, like you can't, right? But you cannot do that when you're helping people, right?
You can't, because it can't be about you. So I think that that's where the magic happens, is when you're able to use the pain you've had to have empathy and understand where someone else is coming from, and use that to help them through their thing. A lot of people get into the helping field because they are still wanting to work through their own journey,
Right.
which is very destructive to people, because you're getting mixed up into their things.
Getting
And
snagged.
yes. And and I'm saying that at the same time where in my Instagram feed, I'm sharing my story.
Right.
So it's hard to know sometimes where those boundaries are. And I think for me, just vulnerability of my own journey and hoping that inspires people is what that's my mission. But I think in sessions with clients or other people, it's not like it's not okay to tell your story or tell a piece of it, but it's just in a real and intentional way to really help them where they're stuck.
Right. And set you aside for just that, at least during the session.
Yeah. I think that's magical. And I think that is probably some of the best people I've seen in the field, both in therapy and coaching. They're really able to do that and do that really well. Yeah.
That's like such grand, that's the golden nugget, right? So what else do you do? Do you, YouTube also?
I've done some. So I have a Facebook group, Go Bold Tribe, where I show up, at least once a week, and, blah, 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 blah. Like anything that, as I'm going through life, I'm observing things that are happening and I'm noticing my reactions and I'm thinking about them, I'm writing them down. So, at this phase of my life, I'm just starting to share all these things that I've just sort of kept to myself over the years. And so I have that Facebook group, and I'm very active on Instagram stories. I absolutely love being corny and goofy and just sharing that with people. And I think that's, again, like this idea that, successful business women have to be just uptight and nutty, like we can be nutty and we can be silly and we can be quirky and authentic and still be kind of like, badass chicks doing things in the world. And so, so I'm very active on Instagram stories, and
Yeah, that's cool.
I think my goal is to create products and experiences, like my restaurant, that are the sole purpose on helping people live in their own purpose, that live in their own. And so I'm open to what that is. If a product comes to my mind, like women need this to live their purpose, then I feel like I'm very open to, okay, what would it be like to create that product? I created a planner. It's called the Go Bold Planner Journal.
Go bold. Oh, I did see that too. Yes, I saw that.
Yeah. So I created that because it's how I work in my own life. That it has a journal element. It has a gratitude journal, writing things as if, but yet it's a daily task manager plus, a way to kind of go through a process of coming up with what your big dreams are and breaking them down to daily activity, which is how I do all of this, is because of that. And so I was like, well, I wanted to create that for 15 years. And so this last year I created that, as much for me as, I think that's what it's about. Like, I'm creating stuff that I love, and it's a real blessing when other people, just like with the restaurant or this, they're like, hey, I like that too. I need that too. So yeah.
Now, a lot of people I know watching this probably are in the mindset of, I need the perfect planner. I need the right tools. I need the, well, for some people, it's like they just get tired of the one they're using, and they want something new and different, So if they go to your website, I guess that's how we would get that.
Yeah, totally. It's on my website under shopping. And then I have a blog, like I said, everything I think. I wrote a whole piece on Ree Drummond, the pioneer woman, on how she went about building her brand and empire, just because I was interested. I got interested one day and started studying it. And so it's just me, like, sharing other things that I'm learning with people. So yeah, I have quite a blog going over there too.
I was just thinking though, when you were talking about this, was it hard for you to get really vulnerable? Because, I'm not saying you're as old as me, but like, this is not anything we did when we grew up. So we didn't grow up with our heads down or scrolling, and I know for me, it's been kind of a challenge, is kind of an understatement. It's been kind of like, podcasting now for like 5 years. It's one thing to be your voice and to be out there in the world. I find that very free and easy. And yet when we do video or we're on Instagram stories, you said, like, and you like being like, it just came naturally, like you were ready to go? Or
oh no, I do what I did and still fight against doing what everybody else does, which is be an expert. I even have the DR next to my name, so I'm like, I can just be an expert. I don't have to be vulnerable. But what I know from the core of my being, from being a therapist, this comes from that change happens in authenticity and vulnerability. And that if I really want, if my intention is to really inspire people to do and be what they want to be, there has to be a level of authenticity that I have. So it has been an ongoing challenge that I'm giving myself. And I just came, you and I kind of briefly hit on this maybe before we started recording, which is, at the end of the year, I found out some very disturbing news in my own life. My father, who I thought was my father, is not my father. And I have like some real male out there in the world that, I sat with that for a little bit and was like, am I going to tell people this? Like, this is quite personal. And am I going, like, what purpose would this serve? And I think I had to come to the conclusion that what I'm trying to do is encourage people to live their very best life. And if I don't show that there's this earth-shattering news in my own life and how I'm navigating through that.
Goosebumps, yeah.
how can I expect other people to do that? And so, I have a hard time with, because I can be like Miss Logic, and I can go to that analytical place so easy. And I love being analytical, that if my purpose is to show that, like, I have to show that. And so, so I wrote a very vulnerable post about that, and, shared that. And every day I think, boy, I just did something really awkward and ridiculous. I need to show people that. I need to show them. I need to show them that, I have scars on my knees. When I was, a child, I fell constantly, and I have scars from being so awkward. And I'm an adult awkward person, but I don't appear that way most of the time. And, I'm not helping anybody by looking like a perfect woman here. And so that's what I would say.
Same way. But I love how you, because I did, like I said, I follow you, and I love the posts that you make do resonate with me. So many of them. I think I've done like hashtag Soul Sister with some of you.
I know, me too.
Oh my gosh. It's so nice to meet someone in person now, to put a whole vibe with because you do put it out there. I don't feel like you're someone totally different than what I see on Instagram.
Yeah. Thank you. That's probably the biggest compliment someone could ever give, is that, am I being the authentic person? You meet me online, you meet me in person, and that, I think that that's a huge compliment. I appreciate that. And that's my goal, and that's the way I want to be. And I want to impact people in that way, and be, like, you may like what I'm saying or not what I'm saying, but at least you have some sense of that it's all of who the person is. So.
Right. Yeah. I was, I have a group that I work with, a couple of them, and that, their biggest fear is that they do this, I don't want to say it's FOMO. What is it when it's like envy. It's like they are afraid they're not going to be as good as, so they would see you. Wow, she already has so many followers, and she has all this content, and she has this authentic story that is compelling and genuine, and and who am I? And that's, I think, so many people struggle with the who am I.
Well, I think it's the imposter syndrome. And I would say that I go through that every single day. I am monitoring what I'm doing, and I'm looking at the person that's the next. Well, look at, oh my gosh, how did she get that? I think that, and especially in this online world, so I can create a product that people go purchase downtown. And for some reason, that's been way easier than the product of me. The product of me is a lot more personal. If someone doesn't like my euro, or, my whatever I have, my fish tacos, then they just go to somewhere else, and it's not personal.
Right.
When someone unsubscribes from your blog, it's like, oh, and I would say it's just, boy, when you're in this space that we're in, of really wanting to grow an online presence, or grow people, you have to fill your bucket of can do so much more. I'm having to fill my bucket of can do more than I have done probably with anything else. And it's like connections, like you having this connection with you, like a real live person, and having like girlfriend time and talk about things, is so filling my bucket. Other things, just, I listen to other women, just like, we listen to each other, that can fill that with me. And I think that if this is your first time taking risks in something, you may be shocked by how much you have to fill your bucket, because you haven't done other things that have challenged you much. And then this, I'm just going to say, this is very challenging. There's tons of voices out there. Why would anybody listen to me? Like, I live in Southern Colorado. I'm not in New York City like you. How cool is that? I can't go get those fancy shoes. Like, I have to order them online.
I'm on Long Island, just a disclaimer. I'm not really in the city, but yeah.
Oh, you're in Long Island. Well, that's, where I'm at, that's still really super cool. So,
yeah.
So I think we all do that. We all do that. And it's just, I mean, I have stuff all over my wall about, I was sharing with a girlfriend the other day that I have felt, I had a point in time where I was like, why would anybody listen to me? I mean, what qualifications do I had? I literally had to go through my resume. Well, I have done this. Okay. I've had enough experiences. Well, do I need any more like education? And I literally had to remind myself that I do in fact have a doctorate degree. What other education? And I don't believe people need to have that in order to do this, but I think I want to go through, like, even I have that education and I still doubt that I am qualified. And then it's like, well, maybe I'm just not quite wise enough. Maybe I'm not like old enough. And it's, well, I'm in my 40s. Like, how old do we have to be to have wisdom here?
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And so I have had to like talk myself through that and cross those reasons why I'm not qualified or good enough off as I go. So I have a sign on my wall here that says, I will never be more prepared than I am right now in this moment. Yeah.
Yeah. Here I am. Ready
Yes.
to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I hope that this has been encouraging for people watching, that,
Hope so too.
you're just really, you're good enough the way you are. You're good to go.
Yes.
Just start. I think that's also another thing. Just jump in, because then you're going to have all this experience and stuff as you go, and just shine. Like you said, shine. Just be
Just shine. Just, the best thing you can give people is the beautiful, flawed you. And the more we work at doing that, the more people, I feel like, will feel connected, because they'll know you and they'll know who you are and how you think and how you feel. And it builds trust with people.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And when people trust you, then they'll follow you and they'll listen to you, and then they really feel listened to,
Yes. Yeah.
It's all good. So, well, thank you so much, Dr. Wendi. Dr.
Thank
Wendi.
you, Jennie. Well, I really feel like you and I talked about doing an episode where we talk about shoes. And so I feel like I would love to do that. And shoes and the metaphor of life, we could call it.
Getting down to something about your soul.
Yes.
Oh, well, soul sisters. Get it, soul sisters. Soul, your foot, and the soul.
Love it. I love it. So let's do it again. And if anybody wants to connect with me, I respond to every message I get. Like I said, my goal is to be connected. So connect with me online and any of those platforms.
I'll post links below and the
Perfect.
that I make with this. And thank you again. Thank you so much. Words of Wisdom by Dr. Wendi.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
And we'll just say goodbye. Bye.